Mark, hello there. As you can perhaps ascertain from the way that the sound you're hearing is not actually matching the lip movements of the idiot on the screen in front of you, I recorded this message to you, which you can possibly tell from the kind of slightly smug look on my face that I really felt like I was in good flow there. I felt like I was really delivering something amusing, but also somewhat astute, which is a combination that, I think is important to hit at least those two factors in any piece of content created for another or for the culture at large. But I don't know, for some reason I didn't, plug in the mic or something, and it was all just the voice thing was all empty. So there we go. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to quickly summarize what I said and also do what I did in the video, which you will be potentially seeing. I'm not actually looking at it. I'm not trying to, because that would just screw with my head. So I'm just speaking now and doing the voiceover on the iMovie thing on my phone. But I don't know what the guy who's actually you're watching, I don't know what he's doing at the moment. But I suspect he's looking somewhat smug because he's like, I'm saying some pretty cool things here, and they're all being recorded for another person's neurons, and so it's all good. But it wasn't good because the technology said no, computer says no. Okay, brief breakdown of what I essentially said, which I'm now saying in a far less engaging and amusing way. I very much appreciated your last message. I thought it was brilliantly deft and it was like a Ramones song, it was like a Beatles song, it was something like that. It was like 2.5 minutes of just nicely balanced, clever free association, very grounded, had some really good quotable lines in it. I think it'll make some cracking half-minute, what are those teaser taster videos? Come hither, come and subscribe to my channel. Something like that. No, it was freaking good, man. It was freaking good. I'm not sure if you answered my question, but that's not the point. That's not the point of anything, is it? So I want to just, I know I shouldn't, because the rule I vaguely set to begin with for us was that I wasn't going to tarry on any of the interludes, but I have to do this for Monomyth, right? Because this is what I also did in the video you're now watching. I reread it, and I loved it so much I thought I just have to read it, because anyone who might even be vaguely watching this at this moment, I feel, has to listen to this story, because it's great. His will was as strong as 10 bulls. His body was 300 feet high, and he lived for 1,000 years. He had the eye of Horus, the penis of Shiva, the muscles of Hercules, and the mind of Yahweh. By birth, he was a Sumerian, American, Mongolian, Ethiopian, Slavic, Eskimo, Goth. He went everywhere, but everywhere he went, they slandered him, they thrashed him, they tortured him, they called him traitor, charlatan, idiot, heretic, blasphemer, sodomite, villain, fiend, devil, rover of the borders. He spoke in paradoxes, epigrams, parables which bewildered and enraged the mob. He asked questions which nobody could answer. Standing before the cities of the world, stoic and spontaneous, he said, life and death, heaven and hell, war and peace, is it all not one? The crowds became frantic, perplexed by his obscure remarks. Bursting with hatred and bitterness, they demanded his immediate execution. He stood still as a mountain as they charged and attacked him, kicked his teeth in, smashed his testicles, pierced his heart, and he continued to preach, to investigate, to question, to denounce, and affirm a living corpse with bleeding scars. He journeyed from one region to the next. His reception was always the same. He was cursed. He was labeled an enemy of the people, an orthodoxy. He was called a rebel as the masses carved his huge body with knives and swords, spat and pissed upon him, tore out his eyeballs. He simply said, I and thou, he and she, us and them. Where does the one end and the other begin? Who can understand it? They dragged his gigantic bulk in heavy chains away to prison. In his cell, he spoke to the other prisoners. What is true and what is false? What is good and what is evil? What is right and what is wrong? On the other hand, is it not clear that there are boundaries, limits, restrictions, patterns? Does beauty exist? Does justice, I wonder? The inmates howled as his words stung their ears. Full of envy and fanaticism, they cut out his tongue, chopped off his head, tore him to pieces. The remains of his body could be heard laughing with patient and bemused tolerance. He chose not to resurrect himself. He had given up on the folly of men and women, degenerates of the ape. He was not resentful, he was just bored. He went to live on a lotus in the valleys of Neptune. He is still trying to decide whether he should spend eternity sleeping or contemplating. Retarded humanity heard of his apotheosis. In base and stupid fear, mortal terror, they erected colossal monuments to the poor fellow they had crucified, this creature of abject curiosity. Today, his shrines stand tall in Rome, Mecca, Kyoto, Moscow, Cairo, Sydney, Lagos, Los Angeles, Tehran. They call him hero, wizard, Nagual, Messiah, Bodhisattva, Sayoshant, master, father, guru, philosopher, king. So yeah, I mean, the monomyth. Okay, so my question to you is essentially what is the monomyth? And this is as far as I've got with it, which is not very far at all. So the monomyth is this place where we recognize that the polarities, the extreme polarities of everything, turn in on themselves and become one and the same. So whoever is the most repellent, the most odious, the most vomitous amongst us, at some level they are also transcendent. They are transcendent. They are God. Whatever God is, they are that, and that is them, and this is him, and him is me, and me am it. The other thing was, when you start a story with his will was as strong as 10 bulls, his will. Now, first of all, will goes to Willie, like he's Willie, his dick, he's, the phallus, the logos, the individual male logos, the phallus, was as strong as, 10 lesser men's peni, something like that. But of course, if you have a name that has the word will in it, you're gonna have some fun with that, right? His will was as strong as 10 bulls. And I wonder if this does maybe refer to something you were talking about in your last answer, in the sense that in that moment of creation, in that moment of reading and writing and that sort of transcendent gnosis, if we like, we are as grand and as little, as grand and as humiliated, as grand and as insignificant as we ever will be. We are nothing and everything. We are the apotheosis of creation, as well as a few specks of sand, if you're lucky, bouncing around on a wooden floorboard. I'm going to edit out the silence when for your video because you're going to get the I don't know, hour and a half version, and I'll do the full shower 8-minute version. Sorry, 8-hour version. But it will be so seamless that it will feel like 8 minutes. So what's the question? The question is, what is the monomyth? And how much of that do you feel you are living, or is it mainly lived in the act of creation as it is for us other idiots?